Hey, this is JJ Gatt. This is another 10-minute podcast. So today we're talking about being mindful, intentional, and purposeful. So Stevie Wonder has a popular album called Moments of Clarity when he has great hits on there. I have a friend named Wayne Wilson who named one of her albums, Moments of Clarity, Book One, and it has some great hits on there. But when I think of Moments of Clarity, what they are and how they're defined in modern terms is, I think, they're new terms that have since cropped up in our vernacular, in our lexicon. Three of them are mindfulness, purposefulness, and intentional. And so these terms have existed a long time before, but recently, I think with metaphysical, with a lot of people talking about, more move towards self-care and people being more aware and awareness of the self and with mental health and all sorts of things like that. People are more mindful of about the mind-body connection, and where before that sort of those concepts I think were limited to sort of frou-frou, holistic, hippie type of lifestyle. Nowadays it's mainstream. And so you see books, you see blog posts, you see articles, you see news magazine features, you see notable syndicated columnists dedicating whole posts to these concepts. And so though those are concepts regarding life, I think it's important that they can also be translated into business. And this is how it translates from life to business. And this is how I'm thinking of it. And it happened to me recently, so I wanted to share. So when we are ill, when something happens to us in our life, a sort of major event happens in our life, we think about the pain of the event. So let's say it's perhaps someone loses a family member. There's a major illness that takes someone off their game or causes them to have to leave their job for a little while. Or maybe there's a loss of a job. Maybe there's a loss of a relationship. Maybe there is something else happens that's life altering. And this life altering events manifest themselves in physical and mental ways in our well-being. Some people will gain a lot of weight. They start to eat. Other people stop eating, so they lose a lot of weight because of the stress. Some folks, unfortunately, turn to vices like smoking or drugs or alcohol, as we know, and those things, if they're not reined in, can actually have deadly or life-altering consequences following them. Other people manifest these changes by their attitude. Maybe they draw inward. Maybe they withdraw from their friends, or maybe they treat people in their work, in their social circles, mean way. Maybe they're vindictive, or maybe they start being nasty or snide, so as a way of sort of masking their own pain, or maybe just not dealing with it, or saying, well, I'm not happy, so I'm going to put out bad things so other folks also won't be as happy as well, or people I think are happier than me, I'm going to knock them down a notch. So a lot of times we see we're around, a lot of people are in pain. They're walking around not having dealt with whatever issue they're going with, and they're in pain. And so you see it outwardly in the way they look, and also in the way they behave, and it's coming from inside, but the way it manifests outwardly to the world it looks that bad. So what happens is people go to therapy, or people start perhaps go pray, or they go to church, or they connect with other folks, they talk with friends. And what happens when they do this, they start to analyze, whether through a therapy session, whether through prayer and reflecting, whether through meditation, they start to realize what's wrong, and they change their ways, and they change life. And hopefully after that, they come out their cocoon, the dark past, the dark times are over, and then they start to spread their wings. They start to appreciate the sun. They start to go out more, and it's shift and life goes on, ideally. Now, in the business cycle, how that manifests itself, and it happened to me recently, is I think with me and with a lot of people, is we start a practice, we start a business, we start a service, we start a product, or we're doing something, whether it's a main business or a side business. And when we first started, we're passionate, we're excited, we're going for it. We learn everything we need to learn, and we do, and we grow. And then at some point, I think in the life cycle of a business, there's a wall that hits. Either you get tired, or you aren't growing as fast as you want to grow, or something about your the path on the way to success, there's a wall, there's a barrier, there's something there, and you have to overcome that hurdle. And so for me, I think my hurdle was that I started chasing too many shiny objects and started chasing too many different dreams and different things and different exciting things that excited me along the way. And when I did that, I moved away from my core principles, from the core processes, the things I used to do that made me grow to the fast and get a lot of attention and grow fast, while I was about to get over that hurdle, that hump. All those things I did, I stopped doing because I was chasing all these different shiny objects. And what happens when you chase shiny objects, my joke on one of my Facebook pages is I'm Jill of all trades, master of none, which is not a good thing. I mean, it says that you can multitask. It says that you're talented in a lot of things. But in terms of for business practices, in terms of for being successful, it's really hard for anyone to put too much of themselves in too many different things. You really have to focus on one at a time. Master one and then move on to the next one. That really is the best way to go. Very few people can do it all. If you can afford it or you have resources, you can hire. You certainly could do lots of different things, but you need staff. You need someone else in your staff dedicated to doing those other things. But you, one person, cannot do it. So when I realized that, I was going to too many different places, and I made the mindful, purposeful, and decision to be intentional, to realize, to take a step back and look at what everything that I'm doing, and to try to peel back the onion and say, this is unnecessary. This is what I don't need to do. That's, but what happened is I didn't just do that naturally. What happened is it's kind of like in my example with the mind body situation. I started seeing my numbers dropping precipitously, like just like dipping really low. Not just my page views, not just my reach. Everything was just going, my engagement, everything was going down. The reason why they were going down, all the things that before I, took hard work to grow, is because I just was navigating too far away from my major processes, my initial intention, my initial purposes, and I wasn't really being intentional and mindful and aware of everything that was going on, because I was just going through the motions and just doing things, chasing too many shiny objects, and I set things on auto and just did not go back to the auto things that what's working, what's not. So whenever you're doing something in business, you really need to make sure part of your daily, weekly practice is reviewing whether the analytics are going, whether you're getting sales, whether your people are engaging. Those are three things that you always have to be looking at. Your analytics, which means essentially, views, shares, whatever, how much it's reaching other people. You have to look at your sales, which is another measurement, whether actually you're moving forward and getting sales and you're connecting with people so that they want to buy from you or purchase or at least sign up for your newsletter. And then the other thing is engagement, whether people are really connecting, whether they're responding. If they're not responding, you're going to drop, And so what happens is I was having not monitoring these things. And so I was dropping. So those symptoms of my business being ill is what I realized. And then I didn't need a therapy session from that. I just needed to take a step back. Read a couple of books. I'm big into inspirational, motivational posters and, the whole concept of mindfulness. And all of that just was what I needed to get me back on track. And now I am back on track. So I'm just sharing this because with these 10-minute podcasts, I like to share my advice and things that I go through, and because they may help other people. And I think it's different from you getting advice from someone who's already large, who's already big and explosive and making 10 million in sales, because if you're not there yet, it's kind of hard, not necessarily for them to relate to you, but for you to relate to them. But I'm maybe a 1 or 2 steps ahead of someone who's just starting. And so it's kind of as I go along, I like to tell the folks who are right behind me, this is what I'm learning, my lesson, and this is what you need to be doing perhaps or considering so you don't fall into that trap. It happens. It's a cycle of businesses that you may get into this, but it'd be great if you do find yourself veering off course from your main focus, that you learn that lesson early and then shift back and pivot back. So that's it for me. It's under 10 minutes. It's Jennifer JJ Gatt. I rebranded myself, speaking of rebranding. So I'm in a digital publishing academy, jjgatt.com. You can find me at Belly Itch blog, JJ Braids, Tech Yaya, 200 Black women on tech in tech to follow on Twitter. So various places online, and also YouTube. So I'm going to actually post this to my YouTube channel, which I have been slacking on because again I've been doing too much. But I just have a lot of stuff going on because I'm a family person and my kids are end of the year is just driving me crazy. There's a lot of things going on with them. So anyway, see you next time. I hope this is helpful to you. Be mindful, be aware, be purposeful, be intentional, and also be careful to not go down that that road, that path that would take you off your mission. And if you, when you realize you're going off that, stop, pause, reflect, and get back on that path. Good luck, everyone. I look forward to talking to you all later. JJ Gat, 10 Minute Podcast. Take care, everyone. Bye.